What is going on, you handsome stallions and you fine stallionettes? AK40 Kevin here in the gamer heaven. I'd be a damn fool to not whip out my change purse and drop my 2 cents all over these Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks. There are some major rumors circulating around the community, and I want to talk about it. Let's get it. Alrighty guys, sharing my screen over here. This is buzzing all over the place. It's all over YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. My fine-ass neighbor's walking her dog right now. Woo! Doggy wants to hide his bone. Anyway, so GTA 6, boys, ladies as well. 2% of my viewership that are females in Canada and North America, apparently. Yep, I've been watching my analytics. I'm growing this channel, boys. So I have been saying this for the longest time. It is insane that Rockstar went this long without confirming anything, and they still haven't really confirmed anything, but this is the longest gap by far that we have had, and I'm going to explain why that is. Like, you look at these release dates here. GTA 3, 01. Vice City, 02. San Andreas, 04. GTA 4, 08. And then there was The Lost and the Damned and Gay Tony, which came out in 09. And then GTA 5, which came out in 2013. And that was playable on the 7th, 8th, and now the 9th generation console. Speaking of the 9th generation consoles, I just made a video the other day. We are getting a PS5 fully revamped version of that from the core gameplay up, so it'll probably include features for the DualSense 5 controller as well as an increased frame rate and maybe ray tracing. That might be a bit of a stretch. I might pull a hamstring on that one. But I mean, if you look at all these games historically, we're talking about a 2-year gap between all of them. GTA 5 came out in 2013. It's 2021 right now, and we have had no substantial meat. We've had a little bit of vegetables dangled in front of us, but that's it, which is insane. And that is because they have been making an absolute killing with the Grand Theft Auto Online platform. They have been putting tons of money, time, energy, and resources into that, and it's been beneficial for them. In fact, if you look at this article right here, Grand Theft Auto 5 has made more money than any movie, any kind of multimedia, any book, film, anything. Yes, that includes Star Wars, Avatar, the entire franchise. That's ridiculous. It made around $6 billion since its release in 13. So because of that, Rockstar hasn't really had an incentive to want to produce another Grand Theft Auto 6 game, despite us, the gaming community, being like, okay, we would like another Grand Theft Auto game now. It's been forever. We want a new story, maybe a new time zone, maybe a new setting. And that is going to happen, by the way. We're going to cover these pretty substantial leaks here. And, you know, a lot of people have been hoping for kind of a Vice City kind of thing. It looks like that might be where we're heading. I mean, it's just been a huge gap. It's been a big old fat gapper, ladies, since we've had a game here. And it's ridiculous. So this article here is by Games Radar. I will have all these linked in the description below. I always cite my sources, so all these articles that I've mentioned here will be in the description if you want to read them read them in their entirety to kind of educate yourself a little bit further into the topic. But I'm going to get right down to the nitty-gritty squeeze a titty, boys, because that's what I enjoy doing. So this entire leak is around the fact that supposedly on March 25th, there's going to be an actual official Rockstar Games leak. A release, letting people know this game is in development officially now, and it will be coming out during this time frame. They probably won't give a set in stone date. They'll probably say something like spring or holiday of 22 or whatever. So the latest gossip is that Grand Theft Auto 6 could launch in October of 23. So again, it's been 2013. 23 would be a 10-year. I don't know, it's a weird frequency I hit there. 10-year gap and be set in Miami. Hell yes. That's from a dubious online source, but additional details from that leak include a single male protagonist, with the game being set in the 1970s or 80s, with a chaptered story like Red Dead 2, which would make sense because that was some of the best storytelling. It's not me saying that. I think it was a great game, but, you know, the general perception of the gaming community is that the storytelling in Red Dead Redemption 2 was phenomenal, and Rockstar does a very good job with their storytelling. I'd say they're right up there with like the Mass Effect and like Cyberpunk and Elder Scrolls, you know, kind of deep, rich, you know, deep storytelling, guys. Combine that with Rockstar teasing fans with the official Rockstar support account telling us to stay tuned, twist your dial to the right frequency for GTA 6 updates on Twitter. So why would Rockstar be saying to even listen up for updates on GTA 6 if it wasn't in development? According to Kotaku, who, by the way, besides this channel, Kotaku's probably a close second for gaming news, a new entry in the Grand Theft Auto series is early in development as of April 2020. A new entry in the Grand Theft Auto series is early in development as of April 2020. So, according to Kotaku here, who's a very, very reliable source, it's like Slasher, basically. this didn't even really get into development until April of 2020. So that's a 7-year gap where they were just putting money, time, and resources into building online and not even working on a new core game, which is, it makes my temples throb, boys. Remastered GTA 5 for PS5 and 21 suggests we could be waiting till at least 22. But they said 23 up here, so which is it? That says October 23, and down here they're saying 22, so come on, journalists, get it together. All right, but down here, I want to cover all this good stuff right here. These are some of the leaks that we have so far, and it's some pretty interesting stuff. And a lot of this is solid leaks. So when you get leaks, you have very, very loose leaks, like, oh, this could happen. And then you have leaks from reputable sources like Slasher and Kotaku, where it's like, this is probably going to happen because you guys have a very solid track record historically predicting what's going to happen. Insider sources? I don't know. Take this information with a pinch of cum, make that 2 pinches on the tuchus, actually, since the game is reportedly very early in development. Allegedly, leaks coming from Reddit. Reddit is a cesspool of leaks. You can get all kinds of stuff over there. User Jackknife the Jackcock Lantern 89 relayed a grand total of 23 details about the upcoming game. This guy literally, his life is masturbation, smoking crystal meth, staying up all night, sleeping in trash bins besides Rockstar Studios, finding leaks. All right, so let's get down here to these factoids, these bullet points. The next title has been in development since 12. Okay, this article is all over the place. It said it was developing April 20, but now it's 12. Which doesn't make sense considering... That doesn't make sense at all, considering GTA 5 didn't even release until 2013. You were telling me that they were already working on the next game? Production didn't begin properly until 2015. But even then, the team was focusing more on Red Dead 2, which does make sense as that was a major AAA title for them. It's another worldwide Rockstar production. Its codename is Project Americas, referring to GTA 6. Set in both Vice City and a new fictional location based on Rio de Janeiro. God, I have such a hard time saying that. Rio de Janeiro. Some linear missions take place in Liberty City, but it isn't an open world. Interesting. I mean, technically, Grand Theft Auto games have historically been open world, but not really, because you could only unlock missions in a linear fashion. So you could only do the next mission in line. Sometimes you'd have 3 or 4 unlocked that you could do. That goes all the way back to GTA 3 on the PlayStation 2. You would have like 4 missions that you could do at a time, but it was still linear. Like, you wouldn't get to the next major part of the story until you completed those missions. Game will balance realism and arcade, okay, like most Grand Theft Auto games, and it won't be as realistic as Red Dead Redemption 2. One playable protagonist, a male, not a female, despite supposed leaks. Okay, so you're not going to have a character creator or anything like that. Set in the 70s or 80s. You play as an up-and-coming drug lord wannabe named Ricardo. Another key character is called Casey. Let me get comfortable. You start off as a grunt doing runs as a cocaine smuggler from Vice City to the new large South America area before making connections with big-time drug lords and making your way up multiple cities. That sounds a lot like Vice City's plot. Tommy Vassetti! Hey, Tommy Vassetti's back in town. How you doing, kid? Bada bang, bada boom. Gotta do what you gotta do, baby girl. There will also be a giant prison which will play a part in the game. Okay, awesome. So you probably get locked up for a chapter of the game where you have to do missions from the inside. I think that's really cool. Will feature a chapter system similar to Tarantino flick or Red Dead Redemption 2. I like that. I like Quentin and I like Red Dead 2. You put them together, you got me throbbing. Weather is a huge focus. Hurricanes, floods. We have natural disasters and a weather system. Awesome. Buildings change over the eras, vehicles too, so older, rare classic cars get more expensive as time progresses with a full economy. The more I'm reading, the more I'm getting stimulated. Heavily inspired by Netflix Narcos. That's a good series. The first season. I wasn't too crazy on the other ones, but the first one that actually covered Pablo Escobar, I like those ones quite a bit. They want to have an incredible 70s and 80s soundtrack. Oh my god, yes. A younger Martin Madrazo will make an appearance as his father, who is a big drug lord at the time. You do some missions for the Madrazo family involving hits on other gangs. Drug Empire building is a mechanic similar to Vice City Stories, but bigger. Think GTA Online system and dial it up to 10. Oh god, you got me breathing heavy over here. You can only have weapons on your person, no arsenal in your back pocket like Red Dead 2, so there's not going to be a inventory wheel where you can just pull an SMG out of your ass and then an RPG it comes out of your spine magically, which I think is cool. You'll be able to have like, you know, a rifle slinged on you and then maybe a couple pistols or something. That's kind of cool. Maybe you can go to a trunk in your vehicle and have more weapon storage in there. Oh, I just predicted that. I hadn't even read this. Your personal vehicle will be like the horse's saddle in Red Dead 2. All your equipment stored in the trunk. You also store your body armor in the car. If you wear it, it appears no longer just an invisible thing. There will be tons of subtitle reading. Great. Think Max Payne 3 amounts. Very immersive, like watching an episode of Narcos. There's going to be a lot of probably Spanish that you're going to be reading subtitles for, unless you speak Spanish, of course. You know, this game is a good reason to download Rosetta Stone and start learning. Whenever you're in South America, don't expect to hear much English. Makes sense. Vice City, however, is a mix of everything, but mostly English. That's really awesome. Depending on what region and time frame you're in, that's going to be the native tongues that you hear. So that actually makes a lot of sense and adds to the realism of the game. Last bit of narrative info, it will discuss topics such as HIV and the immigration crisis at the time, a fictional version of Fidel Castro. This seems super in-depth and super awesome. Next gen only, not PS4 or Xbox One. Thank the Lord up in heaven. You guys have to understand. For one, you guys will most likely have these consoles readily available by the time this actually comes out. Two, these game developers have to develop for the weakest link, for the lowest generation hardware. So if it's on Switch, if it's on PS4 Slim, if it's on Xbox bulky brick original, they have to develop for that. So even the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, and then the new consoles, everything has to be downscaled in a linear fashion to satisfy the hardware that's in those older consoles. So you're never really getting a full proprietary next-gen console when they're developed for these weaker consoles. By the way, that's a fact. That's not just me giving some opinion of mine or something. GTA 6 is now their primary focus alongside another title, which might be Bully 2. Pull the team off of that. Nobody gives a shit about Bully 2. Put them on GTA 6. Now, that is an opinion right there. That's not fact. Game is still in pre-alpha, so names, locations, and details will change. No ETA on the release. And here's the leaks from Fire Den. The game is set in modern-day Liberty City, so that is contradicting what has been set up here. The beginning of the game is reminiscent of The Wire. Police officers are trying to crack down on a drug and gang ring based around a nightclub. There's 4 main characters, 2 police and 2 gang members. What is Fire Den? Is this a separate game? The plot then twists and goes to upstate New York, where it becomes more of a crime noir. Think Ozark and Breaking Bad, 2 of my absolute favorites. Have twice the amount of dialogue as GTA 5 and a crazy plot twist. The main story splits after a while. The criminal side has sort of a sandbox, build a crime empire thing. Fallout 4 meets The Sims, meets Scarface. While the police side is more of a traditional action game with a twist of LA noir. So this is almost like they're describing a different game. This sounds absolutely nothing like these leaks up here. But this also sounds good, but I gotta say, these bad boys up here sound a little bit more stimulating in my book. What Rockstar said about GTA 6 on the record. So Rockstar North's former president teased the next series entry back in 2013. So again, launch year of the GTA 5. In an interview. We don't know what GTA 6 will be, but we've got some ideas. We've got about 45 years worth of ideas we want to do. We'll pick the right ones. And then it said that Games Radar spoke to a software provider at E3 convention in 2015, discreetly, of course, who said that who suggested GTA 6 was already well underway. So, and this is another reason right here that we haven't really heard much of anything about Rockstar or about GTA 6, is that there's ironclad NDAs or non-disclosure agreements, basically barring anyone working on the project or working in or around the mouth of Rockstar Games to speak on the topic. But when can we actually predict or speculate that this would be released? So, Games Radar over here, who's the journalist for this article here, says we might at least hear about the game by end of 21 with a potential release of 22. And that analysis makes sense in my brain when I'm firing my neurons at full horsepower, because if you look at the announce and release dates here, that kind of coincides. But honestly, that's pure speculation. That's hearsay in the rearsay. Nobody really knows for sure. Now, this article is absolutely massive. It goes down for miles. You literally can take a nap, come back, and you're still reading. They talk about, will it be on PC? Yes, I'm sure it will. And a bunch of other stuff. So again, this is linked in the description below. I covered all the major stuff that you guys probably care about, but some of you guys might want to get real deep with this because you're a big GTA or just Rockstar Studios fan. So feel free to read this article. It is linked in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, it was beneficial for you guys, it was entertaining and informative, liking the video helps it to get seen by more people, helps me to grow my baby dick channel just a little bit, which I definitely appreciate, as I am trying to pump this rookie number up in 21, and so far it's going phenomenally, so I definitely appreciate that. Subscribe for more news around the gaming community and industry. I also do a ton of tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing. Tallywhack the notification bell if you want to be alerted when my new videos come online, which I do have a pretty set in stone upload schedule of every day at noon, plus usually an additional 2 videos a day. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.